everyone. We are here with Mr. Sean Austin. He is part of a new Netflix series that's going to be coming out October 21st. It's been a long haunt season. October 21st, and it's called 28 Days Haunted. Sean, how are you, sir?
Good. Yeah. Thank you for having me on.
Thank you for coming on to talk about the show. Can you give us kind of a rundown of 28 Days Haunted?
Absolutely. Well, it's three teams that have been spread across the country into three very haunted locations to stay there without any connection with the outside world um, for 28 days. And this cycle of theories was inspired by something that came from Ed and Lorraine Warren, who are the inspiration for the Conjuring franchise and who were pioneers in the paranormal field.
Mhm. And so they, with regards to the Warrens, you're using what their theories, their methods. Is that the tie?
Well, there was some sort of cycle that I believe that Ed was talking about being in a haunted location for that amount of time. And I think that may have been connected to the Amityville horror case because the Lutz stayed in the Amityville house for exactly 28 days and left all their belongings and furniture behind at no responsibility to them. They were out
Mhm.
according to what had happened to them.
Okay, so the theory goes that what is his exact theory that it takes 28 days or they don't last 28 days? What?
There's some sort of different levels of activity that may take place throughout the process of being there for that long. Obviously, it would be different in every case depending on the history of that location or the activity that has taken place or could take place. But all the principles in the paranormal are taken to the extreme with the potential that can happen to people staying in a place like that.
Wow. Okay. Okay. So in how many episodes are there, by the way?
There's 6 episodes.
6 episodes. Okay, so in the 6 episodes, what are the three different places you guys stay at?
There's one in Preston, Connecticut.
Mhm.
There's one in Colorado, and I believe the third one's in North Carolina. I actually don't know much about the other two locations. I know that some people recognized the locations and have spoke about them. Obviously, even the one that I stayed at in Connecticut is a famous haunted location, Captain Grant's Inn.
Let's talk a little bit about that location and kind of what you did there and what you experienced. What's the history there?
Well, I can't really give anything away yet, but I had never been there. I knew nothing of that place. I have heard maybe word of it. It was on my list to one of those places that I would have loved to check out
Mm,
throughout all of my travels, but I never did, and I didn't know where I was even going
really?
until I came out of the car with my blindfold off. So yeah.
Wow. I mean, you obviously had to like fly there, drive there, something. And
Well, luckily, I actually live in Connecticut,
okay,
so
okay, okay,
that was convenient for the
okay.
situation, to say the least.
I was gonna say you're walking through the airport. Like, so, well, can you explain maybe what you experienced while shooting the show?
Not yet. I'm not
Oh,
allowed to.
excellent.
And obviously, you're there for a long period of time, and I don't even know, you know, what's going to be in there. So much goes on, and we filmed this over a year ago. So
Oh,
um, but it definitely changed me. I had such a defining, the most beautiful paranormal experience and emotional that I've ever had. It actually inspired a song because I'm actually a singer songwriter and write music. It was my first passion before the paranormal.
mm,
And I will tell you one thing, that we had no connection to social media. internet communication to anybody, I brought my guitar with me. In my downtime, I'm thinking I want to be creative. So um, it's interesting because something connected to that, and it was really mind blowing to me. And part of that connection, I do believe, is in the show. And then I'm actually going to do a music video with the story that's connected to what the experience inspired this song. And it's truly something very, very unique, that I've never even heard of someone having an experience like this. So I'm really excited to share that experience and this song with everyone, because there's such emotion, and it's powerful, um, to the whole thing.
Interesting. So you can't reveal the location?
Oh, the location is Captain's Grand Inn. I mean, obviously they
Captain.
showed the house.
Got it, got it. Well, I was like, okay, what so what is the history of this location? What things have gone on there?
um, I mean, I don't know if I'm allowed to say, but I mean, you can look it up yourself. It's a bed and breakfast, and many people have stayed there throughout the years. And there's all sorts of paranormal activity that people have experienced that throughout the years. I believe the house, I'm just trying to remember, is from like the 1700s.
Hmm.
Hundreds. And it's a beautiful property. But when you're engaging spirits 24/7, I can say I really felt as if I was more part of the spirit world than I was the world otherwise known as planet Earth.
Mm,
And coming out of it, it took me a while to get back to feeling normal.
mm. So what is it that I don't know, what is it that drew you to exploring the paranormal investigation world, and what pulled you there?
Well, about 13 years ago, I'd always watched paranormal documentaries, and I loved hearing about people's stories, and really felt I believed in the genuinity to what people experienced. And I just sit there and wonder about it. It's so funny. I would have thought back in the day that why wouldn't I just gone out and try to search for something? But I guess around a time period where I was waitering at a restaurant, and a friend of mine is a very huge skeptic, and I wanted him to have an experience. So I took him to a local cemetery that have a urban legend of three women in white that would chase you out, and I wanted him to believe in ghosts. But even though I never had an experience, I believed in them.
Mm,
But we walked around the cemetery, he's laughing, and I had a flip phone right before we had smartphone. And I'll never forget that defining moment. I was in front of this little girl's grave. Her name was Jenny. And I was just like, Jenny, are you still here? And, I asked a few questions that night. And not until the next night, that first EVP, electronic voice phenomenon, um, that I captured was a little girl's voice, a child, responding to my question. And it just blew my mind. I mean, obviously, chills, like kind of freaked out, but it was exhilarating. I listened to more recordings. I even heard someone say muerto, which is death in Spanish. Just all sorts of just voices that were not with us that night. And this was the trigger for me. And actually, 2 to 3 weeks later, I saw a shadow of a little girl at the corner of my bed when it was even light out, and I put my arms up and disappeared before my eyes. It drew me in, and I've been riding that wave ever since. Going on investigations just for the experience, to learn more, reading books. And actually, the first book that I ever wrote, not wrote, but read, was Ed and Lorraine Warren's first. I don't know if it was her first book, but The Demonologist, and it's a very easy to read, informative book to read about some of the extreme cases that they've been on. And it really broadened my horizons to some more books I was reading um, throughout the years. And I ended up writing my own two books about the paranormal as well.
mm.
And here I am 13 years later. I've traveled around the country, two books. This is the third TV series that I've been a part of throughout the years. And I've done like 7 or 8 documentaries in the last couple of years. So it's my passion. I care about it. And through my experiences, I want to be able to bring awareness, help people living, and also may not be, transition, trapped somehow, that we
Mm.
can show them a path to find peace, and a way to let go of whatever happened to them in life.
Mm. Yeah, it's always interesting to kind of see skeptics kind of like them start to kind of go, huh? So,
Yeah,
what ended up happening with your friend? I mean, I know that you ended up being convinced, but what ended up happening with the other friend?
he's so skeptical. I think if he levitated off the ground, he'd probably send himself to a mental hospital. To be honest with you, he's so skeptical. But I told him one day I'm going to get him. But he actually, it's funny. Just recently, he was saying something to me. He's like, the universe, and like we'll call it the mystery, because there's a lot of unknown out there. He's like, he was actually leaning towards, because he'd always make crack jokes about me doing the ghost stuff. It's so silly. But it's the first time he ever opened up to me about, like, we'll call it the mystery, man, because the universe is a very huge thing and we don't know the answers. I'm like, exactly, man. That's why we call it the unexplained. And when you have these experiences that have no rational explanation for it, that's what draws us in. That gets us interested in the subject, and we want to know more,
Mm,
because there is something that's going on. There is these events that do take place, and again, me engaging this world, living with it, experiencing it, being sensitive to it, because I'm sensitive to spirit throughout these years. It's not even a question if it's real or not at this point. It's just a part of my life. It's there, whether you like it or not.
mm. And so, as far as what you guys captured on 28 Days Haunted, um, how does this rank in comparison to some of the other experiences you've had?
Oh, it's pretty crazy stuff. I've done investigations that have gone on for 7 days in a row, but again, you have breaks. You can go out and have dinner with your friends. You go and have a meal. There's just, it's not the same. I mean, I thought about it, it's kind of like it's prison, like being a prisoner in a way too. I mean, it's obviously not that bad being in a prison cell, but like I said, this is the only environment that I knew, like this bracket of area of the house and the property, like that's all I knew. And it's just like you stay there for so long and you have no connection to anybody, all of your loved ones that you care about. Um, it really starts to take its toll.
Mm,
It's definitely a very extreme experiment, especially with some of the energies that you could be dealing at any of these properties.
mm. That's fascinating. So, like, you basically could not leave the property,
Oh yeah, no,
almost as if you are in the same trappings as, say, some of the spirits that
I
inhabit that place.
I think that was probably part of the purpose.
Yeah.
But yeah, we were the experiment, in a way, yeah, to the spirits, I'm sure.
Excellent, excellent. Well, it's yeah, the investigative, it's the paranormal investigation and the unexplained and all that stuff is such a fascinating thing. Um, and I'm really excited to see 28 Days Haunted and when it comes out. And that's going to be Netflix on the 21st, right?
Yeah, Friday, October 21st. You can set your reminders right now. There's a trailer up on Netflix. And yeah, when the show comes out, I'll be allowed to talk a lot more in detail with some of the stuff. So,
I'd love to have you back after this show comes out and after we've had a chance to see it so that
yeah,
we can
oh yeah,
kind of go into stuff that didn't make the cut or maybe things
yes,
that you just couldn't capture.
absolutely, yeah,
Yeah,
yep. And there's definitely that huge thing that happened to me that I know didn't make the cut, which leads into this song, which is something I think is gonna blow people's minds. It's just truly something amazing.
excellent, excellent. Well, Sean, thank you so much for coming on, giving us a heads up about 28 Days Haunted, and look forward to seeing it, and also look forward to talking to you about it after. So,
Absolutely, yeah. Thank you for having me. Look forward to everyone seeing it. Check it out, and yeah, look forward to our next talk.
all right, best of luck on this release, and
You,
stay spooky.
yeah, always, always. Thanks, Norm.
All right, bud. Bye.